as a kid, I even noticed that if you'd ask someone what the highlight of their year was, they would usually say it was their holiday. They would look back on their holidays with a real sense of fondness usually. They would work maybe 48 weeks of the year, maybe more, doing something often they didn't really enjoy, somewhere they felt trapped, just so they could have those 2 weeks of living life how they wanted to live life. I thought, it's not much of a deal really, it doesn't sound like much of a deal. Moreover, I thought, if what people want is something akin to the feeling of being on holiday, then why aren't we engineering society and our life choices around that feeling, that desire of being on holiday? Because it's certainly possible. So I thought. I think the reasons come down to two things. The reasons are both internal and external. So there is the obvious, seemingly obvious, need to cultivate our circumstances, our own choices, what we want to do with our time, and reach a certain level perhaps whereby that's actually physically possible, but also internally. You see, often we regard these holidays with a certain kind of fondness, as I said, but also maybe it goes beyond that to a point of nostalgia. And what is nostalgia? Nostalgia is really holding it in an idealized form and keeping it at arm's length in a certain way, because there's a strange part to our psychology that wants to keep things at a distance if it thinks they're special, because after all, if life was like that all the time, would it necessarily be so special? At least that's the subconscious messaging that's perhaps going on here. We want to keep it special, and there's an element of actually wanting to distance ourselves from it, and we do this to all kinds of experiences that we hold in high regard. And so there's both these elements to it, internal and external. Just a mere reflection for you there, but there is definitely this feeling of being on holiday that we can all relate to. Whilst the holiday may have been the highlight of their year, it wasn't necessarily to say that they were in a state of constant euphoria. One strange thing that can happen is that when you're actually going away and you're having a good time, but you're aware that there's still discomfort occasionally, as I often allude to in my videos, you know, traveling, especially somewhere like this, in Asia, can be uncomfortable at times. It can also be incredibly rewarding. But some of the most uncomfortable experiences of my life have been traveling. So it's not about constant euphoria, but it is about a certain way of relating to the world, both in terms of what we do, how we act, our circumstances, the freedom we have, the feeling of being able to go wherever we want, when we want, of not having to worry about things, but also in how we relate to the inevitable things that may grate us, annoy us, even more extreme things, negative emotions, maybe fallings out with our families or partners or whatever. But our intention's a bit different. We go about these things in a slightly different way. After all, hey, we're on holiday, let's enjoy it, right? So we know that it's not just about the place, it's also about our intention, our head state going into it. All I want to say today is just to relate yourself with this feeling of holiday mind. This feeling of being on holiday, this feeling of having freedom to go where you want, do what you want, even if that means contributing value. It may not feel like work because you're doing what you want to do. And secondly, of approaching the world with a certain kind of openness, awareness, and also generosity and intention to feel positive, to feel good, to deal with both the positive and the negatives in a congruent, commensurate way. And that means not getting dragged away by the positives, not getting dragged away by the negatives. It's a feeling we can cultivate at all times through the development of our freedom. A method that I condone is the development of digital business, ticks a lot of boxes, but also through the cultivation of our own mindset, really important, most often overlooked, and that's a lot of what my site prismatic.org is all about, not just the how to manifest the external reality, but also how to handle, manage, appreciate the good things that brings, and also be resilient to the inevitable challenges that life also throws our way, whether we're on holiday or not. So I hope that was useful, guys. I should chat to you next time.